Episode 3 of building the Cherokee, trophy Cherokee.
The trophy Chero. Woo!
So this episode, we're gonna be building the front axle, or yeah, basically building the front suspension of this Jeep. Yeah, you can say something if you want to.
I'm going to. So we're gonna pull this front axle out today and we're gonna get all of the stock brackets cut off. After we get all the stock brackets cut off, we got something special for you guys. I went ahead and ordered the Iron Rock Off-Road Axle Straightness Jig. And with that, we're gonna take a piece of 1 5/8 tubing, run it across the axle, make sure it's nice and straight. And then we're gonna cut the axle tubes. We're gonna cut them and we're gonna add +5 degrees, or I think it's +5 degrees of caster, and that should help our pinion angle all the way through the cycle, and it should help it drive at higher speeds a lot better.
Yeah, and this is something that I actually didn't know that people do until Royal brought it up, and I think it's a pretty cool idea, so we're gonna see how it turns out, I guess.
You can use axle sleeves from any company. I got the Barnes 4-wheel drive ones, so I'm using Barnes 4-wheel drive axle sleeves, and basically you cut the tube, rotate it on the sleeve, make sure it's nice and straight with that axle straightness jig, and then you weld everything back up and you weld your truss on top of it. You have to use a stock axle for this. It can't be a trussed axle. You can't just go back and redo it unless you cut your truss off.
Yeah, cut the truss off.
Yeah, so
it's a lot of work for that.
Yeah, a lot of work for a couple of degrees of caster, but I think it'll be pretty cool for this build.
Yeah,
sure.
This is the ideal way to do this. So
with that, we got the Barnes truss, we got a Barnes over the axle track bar mount, we got some DOM tubing to build a new track bar, we got some inner C-gussets. We're gonna be mounting these big ass king shocks. We're gonna be
these are nice.
Trying to mount these 2.0 by 4-inch hydro bumps inside of the stock bump stop location.
Yeah. Oh, this axle also, it's been re-geared
for 488.
488s. It's already, Royal's got 1-ton steering on it already. He's got double shear.
Yeah, I built some double shear knuckles for it.
So we're all good there. And then we've got a locker back here for it as well.
Yeah. And shout out to the people at, maybe I shouldn't say.
What?
They wanted me to shout them out on it for sure.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Shout out to Clay and Peyton from
from somewhere.
Shout out to Clay and Peyton from a construction site for hooking it up with a front locker. You know who you are, and it definitely helped me out. So I appreciate you guys, and that work would have gotten done either way.
No, that's cool. So yeah, we got quite a bit of parts for this Dana 30. It's gonna be basically as much as you can build a Dana 30 by the end of this. So all right, well, let's get to work on this axle.
Drop it low, baby.
I flushed my juice down in the club.
So the past couple videos in this series, we've been working on 4-link in the rear of this Cherokee, which nowadays, 4-link in the rear of a Cherokee is probably the coolest thing you can do to one of these things. We use the new Barnes 4-link kit and we're extremely happy with it. This kit made the swap simple, easy, quick, and I mean, we haven't driven on it yet, but we're expecting it to feel way different in a good way than the Lee Springs did. So anyways, today, we're moving away from the rear 4-link and we are going to be working on the front suspension of this Cherokee. We touched on this a little already, but we're gonna be using this high pinion Dana 30. We already have 48s in it, 1-ton steering. Royal has a Barnes 3-link up front. The front of this Jeep is pretty built already, but to take it to the next level, we're gonna be installing a Barnes truss, a Yukon Grizzly locker, unarguably my favorite locker on the planet, and we're gonna be cutting this thing in half, I guess, which is insane to say, but it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be worth it in the long run.
You're gonna have a bunch of old dudes on your channel and be like, Ron, why are you hanging out with
Who
this
is
guy?
this guy?
Look at all that black shit. This is the first time I've drained the oil out of my diff since I swapped the gears. I know you're supposed to do 500 miles. Don't put that in the video. Don't let Yukon know.
Oh no! Oh, that's gone.
I look pretty? Pretty enough. Okay, so we got the front axle here. Now we're gonna start working on cutting off all of these stock brackets. So we're gonna cut off the stock shock mounts, the stock lower control arm mounts, the other side for the upper control arm, because we don't use that. We're using a 3-link on this, Barnes 3-link kit. We're gonna cut this side, and then roughly somewhere about right here was where we're gonna cut the tube, and we're gonna cut the tube right along this weld up against the coil bucket here. And that's where we're gonna cut the tubes to re-angle the pinion angle and give it a little bit more cast area.
Oh boy.
I don't like it.
Nice. We're making good progress this morning. Royal just finished getting everything cut off of this axle, so I'm gonna take over on the axle, cleaning up some more and prep it for the truss, while Royal is gonna be jumping over to the actual Jeep to prep for the big old kings and bumps that are gonna be getting installed along with this axle.
Hey, Timothy sent me. Look, that's what it's gonna look like when we're done. See, Timothy sent me.
Oh yeah. Sweet.
That's what Tim did.
Royal's bump stops are going to be in the center of his coil, which is what he just showed you. He cut off the stock bump pedestal, and now he's going to use a hole saw to create an opening in order to fit the new bump can through and weld it in place.
I literally couldn't see it all. I was just trying my best to make a good circle.
Oh, she's mad.
Yeah!
So I got the Dana 30 basically all cleaned up. The most, we got all the brackets cut off. You all saw that. This is all cleaned off. So we're gonna be chopping this thing at some point, not right now. Right down the middle right there. And then same thing like Royal said, right down the middle of what tube you can see right there. Let's see. We're gonna be putting a track bar bracket. You can see this. This is the Barnes one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's gonna go somewhere right. Everything's Barnes. So yeah, that's gonna go somewhere kind of butted up right against that coil mount. We're gonna be doing, you can see there's like a space under here. I'm gonna be cutting out something on the CNC to kind of make this a ramp so this doesn't get hung up on anything. One thing I'm not sure, I mean, we already kind of decided. We've got what's left of the stock sway bar link mount right here. We could cut this off, but it is kind of like holding this together already pretty good. So probably gonna leave those alone. Yeah, this is all good for now. We're gonna probably just work on the Jeep for now, I guess. So Royal just cut these out with cardboard. So what we're doing, you know, let's talk about this first. So these are the shocks that are going in the front of the Trophy Cherokee. They're King 2.5 by 12 inch smoothies. So these are really nice shocks. You got them for a pretty screaming deal. So those are going in the front of the Trophy Cherokee. And to do this, we're not cutting into like this inner fender and mounting them up super high. What we're gonna do, you can actually buy these online. We're gonna be making our own mount right here instead of using like the stems, like a stem style shock. And we're gonna be mounting them right there. So we're gonna try to get these drawn up on the CNC. We've also got this piece that we're gonna cut out. So y'all saw that Royal cut this big hole right here. That's where the bump stop is gonna go. I don't have one with me right now, but it's gonna basically go up in there. It's gonna get welded, but we're gonna be making these plates that kind of sandwich the inner fender into it, top and bottom, just to reinforce it. So we got all these 3 pieces to cut out, then we'll probably start on the axle.
So now that we're at a standstill, still with the front axle because I forgot to go get 1 5/8" tubing to do the jig. My bad. We're working on doing the front shock mounts and the front bump mounts. And the issue that we're having, I bought these off of Facebook Marketplace. So they don't have a 90-degree fit. So either I'm gonna have to spend more money or we're gonna have to think harder. And I think we're gonna think harder and cut this out. And hopefully somehow flip that reservoir to fit in there backwards. I don't know exactly how it's gonna go, but we're gonna figure it out right now.
Between last night and this morning, we just finished these shock mounts. This is what our upper shock is gonna look like. Pretty simple, just two-piece mount. Basically, Royal traced out what he needed on cardboard. I took the picture of the cardboard piece he needed, transferred that over to Fusion 360, and I was basically able to trace it out on there. We cut it out, and they both worked out perfectly. So now we're gonna do the same thing for the other side, but before we do that, I mean, this looks really good. It just has to be welded. Before we do that, we're gonna get to cutting this axle in half.
All right, so we're just looking at where to cut this axle. Like what's gonna be the best spot, and will that weld necessarily make a weak point? Probably not, is what we determined. The weld's probably not gonna be the weakest link, especially because we're gonna have this sleeve, goes all the way through there. You know, so we decided to go right under the center rib of this of the truss here. I think that's gonna be a pretty strong point, you know, being welded all the way around on these sides and all the way through. I don't think there's gonna be any issue with this axle tube bending. The outer C's, maybe. The breaking the cast, possibly, good chance. But I think these tubes are gonna be solid after this. I don't think we're gonna have to worry about anything with welding these up, as long as we can get them as straight as possible tomorrow. We're doing all things Jeep today, huh? We sourced some tubing this morning, and now we're ready to cut this axle. So I ordered these from Iron Rock Off-Road. They're the Dana 30 and Dana 35 axle straightness jigs. And what you do is you pull your carrier out, you slap these in right where your carrier bearings go. They use a piece of 1 5/8" tubing, which is a weird size. And luckily our local steel supplier had 1 5/8", and it was considerably cheaper than getting it from Iron Rock Off-Road, just so you know. And you don't have to pay for shipping. And we're in a small town too. Like, we're not anywhere special.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be tough to get it in.
No, that seal.
Oh, we gotta take the seal out.
Ugh.
More money. Yep.
Damn it.
Oh, now we're gonna make the straightness jig straight again.
What?
Nice.
If I had known was gonna have to do that, I probably still would have done it.
Like $10.
Okay, we're ready to do this now.
Hold on. Oh, brother.
How close are we? Oh, we're almost there too. I think we gotta come a little bit more. How are we gonna get this out, you ask? Yeah, I don't know, I just work here, dude. All right, time to see how straight this axle is. What are you doing? Yeah, this side's bent as fuck, dog. That side looks pretty straight. I'm disappointed. I didn't even need to buy that stupid kit. Yeah, so we found out the axle is slightly bent. All of them are. I don't think a single Dana 30 is straight.
It's very slight though, so.
Yeah, it's slightly bent. It's really not that bad. But if you watch the Iron Rock Off-Road YouTube video, they tell you to buy these sleeves. Any kit will work, because they're all gonna be 1/4 inch, right? They're all gonna be DOM that slides into the axle tube. This is from Barnes 4-Wheel Drive. This is their kit. Doesn't slip over 1 5/8" tube.
No.
That Iron Rock Off-Road uses for the axle straightener stick. Why they don't use 1.5 inch? Why would you not? What? Iron Rock Off-Road, like for real, why would you not use 1.5 inch?
Yeah, so we're still gonna be cutting this. So it's super tough to see on the camera. It does look like this jig, this piece of DOM is not centered in here, but we're gonna go ahead and cut this. We'll probably just start one side to begin with. And we can probably fix that bendness, I think. I don't know, we'll see. We're gonna start cutting and find out. Cutting a perfectly good axle in half is a wild thing to do, but since this is a fresh build, we might as well. We want to be able to get our caster and our pinion angle dialed in perfectly, so by rotating these C's, that pinion will be pointing directly at that transfer case, while our C's should have around 10 degrees or so of caster. And you were worried about knots in the frame. That's wild. Yeah, that was tough to cut.
Yeah, no joke.
We had to get 2 new blades for these bandsaws, but
We already went through one of them.
yeah, might be a better option to use a Sawzall. I don't know. That's what they did in the video, but yeah, looking good. So we still gotta grind this down right here. We're gonna bevel this, bevel that as well, but right now we're drilling some holes so we can basically plug weld from the axle tube to our new inner tube that we got here. We're gonna do that over here. We're gonna get this side tacked on where we want it, where our pinion angle and our caster set up right. Then we'll go ahead, get that tacked together, and we'll chop this one off and get that tacked on.
What do you think? Should we do the other side now?
Yes, sir.
Sweet. So we just barely got this all tacked up and set exactly how we want it. How we did that is we zeroed out this side of the coil bucket right here on top, and then we made sure everything was level, the whole axle housing was level, everything fit up and sat exactly right where we wanted it to sit. And then on this side we rolled it back and up 5 degrees. So you get 5 more degrees of caster and you get a better pinion angle all the way through. And hopefully that'll make it drive better at faster speeds.
So I think this is gonna be pretty strong. We're gonna be obviously welding this back together. We've got 8 plug welds to fill. We've got 4 right here on the top, 4 on the bottom. We're gonna be welding our new inner tube right here on the outside. And then we're also obviously gonna have a truss on it. You all saw that. And we're gonna be welding the tubes right here to the housing. So I think it's gonna be pretty strong. We're gonna take a quick break from the Trophy Cherokee so we can talk about the brand new merch at backcountrybeagles.shop. We did a revamp of the website. We got a bunch of new things on there. We've got sweatshirts, shirts, patches, stickers. We've got the BCB Fab unibody stiffeners, as y'all probably already know. With the cold weather coming, I figured we needed some new sweatshirts for the website, so that is exactly what I've got here today. This is the brand new BCB Fab Beagle welding hoodie. We've got Bella, Natalie, Lilli, and Tizzy on there. They're all actually welded a 14 bolt, my favorite axle. Along with I'm dubbing the Beagle welding hoodie, we've got the BCB Fab embroidered hoodie. This is an oversized heavyweight sweatshirt, and it is actually probably my favorite on here. It's clean, it's simple. You can see we've got the BCB Fab logo stitched onto there. I think it's a really sweet sweatshirt. We've also got the BCB Fab location tee, my favorite shirt on the website. And last but not least, we've got the Backcountry Beagles logo patches. These have been a long time in the making, and I am extremely happy with how they came out. We've got a lot of new stuff on the website. I'm extremely happy with how everything came out. So go check out backcountrybeagles.shop if you'd like to pick up anything for yourself. Yeah, that's weird.
On their video, it showed the same thing.
So, as you can see, we tacked up the passenger side of this axle, worked our way to the driver's side, and did the same thing. We're happy with how this came out, and we're very confident we were able to get everything squared and as straight as possible without using the straightness jig. So now, after finished welding the tubes and plug welds, it's time to move on to the truss. To me, trusses are fun to weld. They're pretty straightforward, so I took the liberty of getting this one welded up for Royal, and I mean, we're making good time on this axle. We have a few more parts and pieces to fab up for it, and then it's gonna be ready to go back in the Jeep here sooner than later. So today the goal is to get this front axle done. We've got a few things we gotta do to it. Right now I'm gonna work on these C-gussets. So these are from Barnes. These came separately from the truss, but they go right on the outside right here, and you can actually see I already tacked this side on. So it actually looks really sweet. I think that's exactly what this axle is gonna need. Been getting quite a bit done on this axle. You can see, obviously got the C-gussets, the inner C-gussets like we talked about. I got that on both sides, front and back here. They actually came out super nice. I like how the weld came out on it. And then I threw some 3 welds on the inside, 1, 2, 3. Same thing on the back here. Same on both sides. We also tacked on this track bar mount. Oh, and we got our lower control arm mounts welded on. We've got what is called the cam delete kit on this. So we welded this on, and we'll probably talk about this a little later, but we got those all welded on. Now I am working on, so these are the stock coil buckets, and we cut some metal off of them, and we're gonna make this skid right here. I already have it cut out and bent. It's gonna go something like that, just to help reinforce it a little. We had the old like sway bar link right here. It goes on the outside right there. Cut that off, and I think just doing this is gonna make it look a lot better. So we got that one. I just gotta cut out this side, and then we can probably, I mean, this axle will basically be done. Yeah. And then we can get it under the Jeep. I will admit, we did quite a bit off camera with this axle. It's just the way it worked out. Mostly just those lower controller mounts, the coil bucket skids, and that track bar mount, which that is actually just tacked in place for now. Royal also picked up this sweet Yukon diff cover for pretty cheap, so that was a good addition to the axle build as well. Next, we want to get this axle under the Jeep. We need to build the track bar, and in order to do that, we need to cycle the suspension. We want to make sure this axle side track bar bracket is in a good spot before we fully weld it, and we actually have to make some changes to the upper link under there as well. Damn, that's mint.
Yeah, dude. Oh, I'm stoked.
That's clean, huh? So, a few things we gotta do. Royal had to cut down this upper link just to get stuff to fit better. It was a little long, so we're gonna have to weld that. We might make some gussets for that. And then we'll work on this track bar. Here's where parts go to die. Behind the shop. Got a bunch of 14 bolts. Some CJ axles.
This man's got a whole Jeep graveyard back here. You
Yeah.
need some 35 pad of goodies, dude. You need some 15-inch, 15x8 rims.
Don't actually come here if you need that.
Yeah, no, you're not allowed here, dude. This is a special thing that I did. Right? I had to shake a lot of hands. I had to cross a lot of T's and dot a lot of I's to get here, right?
But yeah, we got a piece of DOM, scrap piece of DOM we had, so hopefully this should work for the track bar.
Woo, let's see. I'm a little nervous that it won't.
I think we'll be good. It looks long.
Oh yeah, plenty.
Oh, perfect. Sweet.
Let's actually go use the other piece that was out there. It's slightly smaller.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we got that track bar tacked up and we got that upper link mount tacked up. And this is what we're looking like, flexed out. Got all three links and the panhard bar or track bar mounted up. Looks pretty good. Honestly, I think we're gonna run into coil bind is gonna stop us from flexing. And really, that's it. I think the coil dropping out and the coil bind is really gonna be my limiting factor. But we got limit straps, baby. We're ready to go. I don't think those 14-inch limit straps are gonna fit.
Nah. Yeah, we're gonna have to see about that. But yeah, this looks pretty good. I mean, you can see right here. If we come up anymore, I don't think we're gonna have to, because I think, like Royal said, we're gonna have a coil bind issue here. But if we come up anymore, we're gonna have an issue with this track bar hitting this. A way around that is to put a bend in this. We don't have a die to bend that, so something we're gonna have to deal with. But I think, like you said, I think it's gonna work out really good. So we showed you these a little while ago. They came out all right. We're having trouble with this plasma cutter. I think we need a new torch lead. I cut this one out just now. Came out absolutely terrible. Put new consumables in it. The issue we're having is this is running through consumables really quick. So I got new ones in there, cut 4 new ones out, came out great, which are these right here. And those, and then go something like this. Gotta cut a little off the back of it, but that is to kind of reinforce this coil mount, and then we're gonna put the bump stop right in the middle there. So we're gonna be sandwiching them, the coil mount of the Jeep, with those 2 plates on each side. Oh my God. What the No! Hailing.
That is so loud, dude. Holy shit.
My poor Ford. Oh man. We are skipping around quite a bit. We were working on these coil plates before, then we weren't, and now we are again. That's, once again, that is just how it works out when there's literally 100 things to do to your rig. You tend to skip around. But now, with these coil plates out of the way, as you might remember, we got the upper shock mounts cut out and in place before. So now we need to work on the lower mounts for the shocks. So, Royal and I do this thing literally like every weekend for the past couple weekends. We start really early and we get a ton done on the Jeep during the first half of the day. So then around lunchtime, you know, we're wanting to ride our motorcycles. We go ride our motorcycles for probably a little too long. You know, we go get lunch and whatnot. And we get back and we end up having problems with what we want to do, and we don't get done what we want to. So kind of unfortunate. It is fun riding motorcycles, I will say that. But so right now, that kind of happened today a little bit. We wanted to get this, we wanted to get this front axle done in the Jeep and painted. You can see it's not done, it's not painted, there's still welding that has to be done. We still have to make these shock mounts, which I wanted to get done today. Same thing with this rear. We wanted to get the rear in today. I mean, it just kind of has to be bolted up and everything. Didn't get to that because we kind of had issues with these upper coil mounts and stuff. So, and then Royal had to go. I had stuff to do as well, so we did not get to any of that. So we are gonna be working on this early tomorrow, but I'm gonna try to make a little progress, and I'm gonna I actually drew up the lower shock mounts in CAD right here. And I'm gonna try to cut these out so we can make a little, make a little headway on tomorrow. All right, this is what we've got, what I just cut out. I think we're gonna end up making some changes to this, but this is definitely a start. I think we're gonna add a little more meat to the top of this, but I think this is a start to a good design. I guess I'll kind of show you all what I'm talking about here, where this is gonna go exactly. So you can see the bottom of his king right here. We've got the Barnes lower control arm mount. Sorry for the bad lighting, y'all. But this is gonna fit in there, something just like this. I like these control arm mounts a lot because they got this big flat piece of metal right on top here, which gives a nice place to mount some stuff, which is exactly what we're gonna be using it for. We're gonna be mounting this right there, and then hopefully once we go to do the limit straps, we can mount them on the other side right over here. But yeah, I think something like this, like I said, I think we're gonna be adding a little more meat to the top of this. That's gonna sit something like that. I think that's a start to a good bracket right there. We'll see how Royal likes this bracket in the morning. Maybe we'll make some changes to it, maybe not. Well, I'm thinking we'll get it tacked into place, flex out that front axle, and make sure it's gonna work. Not much progress, but better than nothing. We have a little less to do tomorrow, I'd say.
Dude, we got lower shock mounts.
I guess we'll see how they work. We'll flex this thing out and cut some more out. We got to flexing the axle out. It looks like these shock mounts will work just fine, but before pulling this axle out to weld those mounts on, we decided to finish up our bump stop situation. Royal is keeping this simple. We've got 4-inch bumps mounted up top like you saw, and down below we've got some hockey pucks stacked. These are held down by a through bolt threaded into the top of the coil bucket. This is, like I said, simple yet effective. So the last step here, we've got our bump stops. They look pretty good.
Working on them joints, so here we go. We got a big old fat stack of some premium rubber, solid piece of plastic. That's what's HDPE something.
Yeah, something like that.
HDMI plastic. And yeah, it's bumped out pretty much solid. We left, I don't know, 3/16 of an inch to bump up for the squish of all this stuff.
Yeah,
and the squish of the Delphin over time, but we will, I think this is it. I think it's set up.
I think this is good.
Ready to burn this in and install a locker, baby.
Over the next couple hours, we pulled the axle back out. The first step was to finish up those lower shock mounts. I will say, I'm pretty excited in how these came out. They look great, and they should keep those shocks in place just fine. Royal got to finishing up all the bump stop welding that had to be done. There was quite a bit. And we once again got distracted and had some fun away from the Jeep. And last but not least, we got this Yukon Grizzly locker installed. With this, Royal shouldn't have any issues getting up any obstacles this Jeep may come across. Now, over the next couple days, we found ourselves racing against the clock in order to get the trophy Cherokee done for a big trip we have planned out to Utah. We painted everything, made some last minute finishing touches. We basically got this Jeep put back together. So we're gonna cut this one short for those reasons, which means the next time y'all see this Jeep, it might just be out on the trail. We appreciate y'all for watching. We'll see you on the trail, and we'll see you next time.
And the theme of events that have taken place, we're just gonna get drunk because it's really wet outside.
No more riding choppers.
No more riding choppers, and that's a little sad. That was bad.